Welcome back to Wind Against Tide.
Nice, Adrian.
Thanks to those guys who liked and commented on our latest video. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe now. So, Dave, two
Yes.
weeks in with the newborn Samuel.
Yeah.
So, this is when my personal experience where I've noticed it kicks into a new gear.
Yeah.
How are you feeling? Had much sleep?
Yeah. Well, so when he started off, he was very sleepy
Yeah.
because he was like all like premature and jaundice and had no energy.
Yep.
And now he's like 2 a.m., eyes darting around the room, head twisting in 60 degree circles like a possessed baby.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh my gosh,
Oh, no.
he's never going to sleep.
So, do you reckon you'll ever get your sleep back ever again?
Probably not. More likely, I'll just get used to the lack of sleep. I think fishing's trained me well.
Yeah.
Many years of broken sleep and weird patterns.
So that comes to my next question. I wanted to know how you're coping because it's probably one of the hottest bites out of Melbourne we've ever seen on the southern bluefin tuna. How are you coping seeing all these reports and not being able to drop anything and just go fishing every afternoon?
Look, I am missing out a little bit, and it is a little bit upsetting. But what do? You can't expect to have a 2-week-old baby and be going fishing all the time. So I've been lucky enough to have one day out already.
Yeah, so we're going to get to that soon. Like you actually had your first trip out and
Yeah,
it's success in the
it
end,
was.
wasn't it?
By the way, congratulations on the intro to the show there. We were just having a little discussion and you're like, oh, yeah, I'll start off the show. I'm like, oh, it was very, very nerve-wracking. I didn't
Was
know
it?
what you were going to do.
Oh.
But you've done really well.
Oh, thanks, Dave.
2 thumbs up.
Very good.
Congratulations.
2 kudos, you reckon?
Yes.
So yeah, getting into the fishing thing. So you haven't really fished in, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks now, and you finally got on the water and you dragged me and Winger along with you.
Yeah, we went on Saturday.
Yep.
And we did gentlemen's hours,
Yeah, of course we did.
which we quite often do,
I think we launched at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
from memory.
which is a very cruisy, nice way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got out there and we had a glass run out. We were zooming along at like 70k an hour, yahooing and happy as Larry. And then we got little ways offshore and there's just all these white caps and waves everywhere.
Actually, when we actually got out of the West Head, it was calm. Okay, this is a beautiful bloody day.
Oh, it was beautiful. And then out of nowhere, there's just like a line of waves. I'm like, what's going on here? It's like some sort of pressure current wave thing. And no, turns out that was just where the front of wind started and we just drove straight into it. And
It was very strange, though, because it was just as you got round to the Cape of the Shank, I guess. There was all these pressure waves coming off the cliffs.
yeah,
And it looked calm further out, but the closer you got to the cliffs, the rougher it got. It was like rolling down the cliffs.
which is, weird because it was an offshore wind, which is funny the way it happens there. But yeah, because that was right on the reefy area. And we're like, I bet you once you get around the corner, it'll be like really nice and calm, which it was a little bit better, but it still was quite windy.
Yeah, so what happened? We had a couple of mates out there who were on the fish, and you were skip of the day, and we just drove away from them. What was going through your mind then?
Well, we got out there. First thing I saw was a big flock of birds.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, we're on here. Massive oil slick. I'm like, I can smell the fish here, boys.
Yeah.
And we get to it, and it's like birds everywhere diving. And then there's a big splash, and it's a bloody loose wheel, Adrian.
Yes.
It's a loose wheel.
With a giant tuna, well, not a giant tuna, but a decent-sized tuna in its mouth, just flicking it around.
Yes, so a seal flicking a tuna around, which is, I don't know if that's bad signs for the future of us as this fishery continues, whether the massive seal colony at Seal Rocks there is going to work it out and start stealing all our fish. But he had himself a tuna, which we later found out came from our good friends Josh and Pawsey.
Oh, so they lost one to that fish, did they?
Apparently.
I mean, to that seal, yeah.
Apparently. So
Yeah, right.
I think they got a couple of fish just before we got there and just as we arrived. And this is where it gets interesting.
Yeah.
Allegedly, one of their fish was 41.8
Oh,
kilos.
yes. I had to question him again today because they're actually driving to the mid coast of New South Wales, and Pawsey was in the car, and I go, "So Pawsey, was that a real Pawsey 40?"
Oh, did Brendan go with him?
Yeah.
Oh, so they're off on a flatty trip again.
Yeah. That's the dartboard trip I was talking about, and they're doing it this weekend, basically. So,
Brendan actually just tried to call me.
oh, did he?
So you reckon they're in the car now?
Yeah, no, I called him at 1 o'clock, and they're up. So they're towing Tilly with the Porsche.
Really?
Well, that's what he told me. I said, no way. He goes, yep, we're in the Porsche.
Well, they must be.
Yeah.
Because I saw his ute at the supermarket before.
Well, there you go.
But I digress. So, yeah, Pawsey and Josh apparently got one that was 41.8. And I was like, bullshit. They've exaggerated. Because, like, we've seen probably a good, 300 to 400 tuna over the last few years locally.
Yep.
And the biggest one I've caught or had on the boat was probably about 35 kilo.
Yep.
And I'm like, and Pawsey and Josh have probably been out like 4 times. I'm like, there's no way they've just rolled out and caught like a proper big one. And so we were just dismissing it. And then the other thing was apparently there was this story that was like, we were just, while we're cleaning that fish up, we just had a lure dangling like literally in the prop wash. And what do you know? A tuna comes up and takes it and just snaps us off. And me and Winger both immediately went to each other. Yep, line's gone in the prop.
Wrapped around the prop, you reckon?
Yep. So that's what we've gone with. And that tells you the story. That's our immediate thoughts. That the line went around the prop.
They've claimed that fish being 41 kilos.
So, yeah, anyway, we hounded them about that. And then I heard mixed stories.
Yeah.
Because one of my brothers works with Pawsey and his son. And he had heard they hadn't weighed the fish, even though Pawsey had given this very accurate number. And then a little bit more prodding, and we found out apparently they'd weighed all the separate parts of the fish in bags or some weird shit like that. And they'd weighed the meat, and then they'd weighed the trimmings. But here's the thing: they estimated the stomach contents weight.
Yep.
And I think they'd allowed like 4 to 5 kilo for that.
Well, that's funny because Winger's 101 fish out of Stony only weighed about 3 kilo, didn't it? The guts?
7.
Oh, 7. Yeah.
Which is 100 kilo fish.
That's like 3 times the size of that fish.
Yeah. So I think they'd allowed like 4 or 5 kilos. So
yeah,
we weren't giving them that. But the weird thing, like to come up with 41.8, that's an incredibly accurate number. That's what really was funny about it. So anyway, good. It was a good fish. But you know what it's like with mates. You can't let them have it.
Yeah. So what I want to know, what was going through your mind when they've caught a few fish and you just drove away? Did you not want to catch their fish?
No. Well, They were driving around. Like I think what had happened was because we slept in, they didn't. There had been good action there first thing in the morning. Then just as we got there, it kind of dissipated. And I went towards them a little bit, but there was no bird life or anything. And all the birds I'd seen had been pushing pushing west.
Yeah, they were.
So I'm like, well, let's just get up on the plane and go for a look. So we went zooming around for a bit, and we did find an almighty workup.
We did.
Bait, birds.
But
the problem was
dolphins. So we tend to have this thing where we don't actually ever find tuna on bait balls if there's dolphins on it. This is the small tuna. Yeah.
I love dolphins for big tuna.
Yes.
I also think it's this like summer period of the bite as well. For some reason, when the dolphins are on the bait ball, the tuna are not.
Oh.
I don't know if they're frightened of them or what. But yeah, we had this big area that looked absolutely amazing, birds everywhere, and dolphins crashing through, and no fish on it. So
basically, we did a scenic route all the way to find tuna.
So anyway, that was pretty disappointing. Then I was like, oh God, I'm going to have to go back where Pawsey was.
Yeah.
So we did that. By this stage, Pawsey and Josh had already gone in to have beers.
Yes.
So we went through where they were and nothing was there. It had completely died off.
They were texting us saying, we always outfish you guys.
Carrying on.
Yeah.
So anyway, it completely died off.
Oh no, he's having a beer break, guys.
That was poorly timed.
You're mid-sentence and you're just sculling a beer.
I don't know why I did that.
Mid-sentence, sculling a beer. Great content, guys.
It just anyway. Don't know why I did that, but it was delicious. Totally worth it.
Excellent.
So Brendan kept crapping on because he's always got these wacky theories and stuff. But one of them was like 4 or 5 years ago, me and him had caught a bunch of bluefin in like 10 meters of water just past the shank there.
Yep.
And he's like,
I remember that.
and all day he's like, oh, Dave, can we just go run along the cliffs? They might be in there. And I'm like, nah, like they're barely ever in there. Like I've been out here heaps of times, and most of the time they're out like sort of between 15 and 70 meters, but not like hard up in.
Yeah. So it was funny because he was saying it all day, and every time we kept pushing out wider, he kept waving at the rock saying, bye, tuna. We'll see you later.
So anyway, last ditch thing, he's like, can we just go past the rocks on the way home? I'm like, oh, fuck, fine. So I went in there, and we're literally trolling like in like probably about 30 meters off the rocks, and I think it was like 9 meters.
Yep.
Nothing happening. About to go past Pulpit Rock.
Well, literally about to turn round Pulpit Rock.
Yeah, and a rod screams.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh. Like I was actually kind of disappointed.
You wanted it to be a kingfish.
Yeah.
Because you didn't want to be right. You're like, oh, I think it's a king. I'm like, it's running like a tuna. And you're like, oh, damn.
Damn it, one of these stupid theories is right for once.
Yes.
So,
yeah, I've got some footage here, so I can probably show you him winding the first fish.
Yeah, so I couldn't believe that it was a tuna because, as you can see, that's the rocks right behind us, which...
That's Pulpit Rock right there.
GoPro makes it look further away.
So, he's pulled the hook there because the tuna was up on the surface and
he's really
just lifted the rod up and it was really bad angling, wasn't it?
He was just yanking at it.
Yeah, we did one pass because he had that theory that there was fish there and we hooked up.
Yes. So this is literally where you'd normally like troll for kings or whatever. So yeah, then we're like, oh well, it's worth another couple of passes.
Yeah.
So we turned around and went back along the cliff.
We did.
And we started spotting little black tunas swimming around in like packs of about 15 to 20. And they were pretty much coming from like the edge of the wash, like coming out from the rocks towards us.
Yeah,
so
they were.
Crazy close.
And I think you marked him just here and Winger was getting his popper out. He goes, where are they? And the rod just there just buckles over.
Yep.
And
he just drops his rod on the floor and everyone's like...
Yeah, and then we get a second hook up here. But what was really funny about this is me and Winger were fighting the fish and Dave had some unusual techniques, some tactics to actually catch a fish.
Well, actually, I was like, oh, well, I guess they're grabbing the rods. And I walked up, I'm like, oh, yeah? And I started cranking the spreader bar in. I didn't actually think anything would happen. And yeah, got that about 2/3 of the way in and got absolutely crunched by another fish. So we had a triple hook up.
So yeah, this is the second rod that went off. And I don't know, for those watching, you'll see Dave pick up the spreader bar in a sec.
So we've gone no audio on the videos because we've decided that it's just easier with us narrating.
Yeah, so he's picked up the rod here. He's winding it in. I don't know if you could see that in the middle there. And
the splashy boy is back behind us.
Yeah. So he's basically casted a spreader bar here and bang, he's hooked up. That's crazy, Dave.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good fish.
Yeah.
So 1.14 meter short length. I measured it.
Yep. So that would be about 28 kilo, wouldn't it?
I'll be conservative and say low to mid 20s.
Oh, okay.
But genuinely a solid fish. And yeah, there was a good mix of sizes in there. But yeah, that would have been an opportunity for someone to go down there and catch a land-based bluefin in the heart of Victoria.
Oh yeah, like you can see. There's a picture of Dave, by the way, holding that fish.
So yeah, some people probably don't realise that I'm like 6'6". I'm tall. So
this is the fish here. basically you can see the little ripples there, and we're casting poppers, and that is very castable from the rocks there.
Definitely. We saw them in closer than that too.
We did.
And yeah, so that was awesome. And then, yeah, we kind of stopped trolling because we wanted to catch them on top water, and they weren't interested in poppers or stick baits. We tried a few different kinds, and sort of by the time we went back trolling again, they were sick of us driving over them and being near them. And
Well, basically after we got that triple hookup, they were moving quite fast, so it was almost like really hard to get a popper into them.
yeah, I think because there wasn't a massive biomass fish there. Like normally, often we'll have like just acres and acres of bluefin in little patches. You can just go from one to the other, and you're on a fresh patch every time. Whereas this time, like we're kind of harassing the same ones over and over again. I think the first cast I got in there with a popper, they were red hot on it and had them swipe at it and everything, but just wouldn't commit. Then pretty much after that, they were barring it. They
It's
weren't
funny
really
because
interested.
I reckon if you had 10 more meters towards the boat, you probably would have hooked up.
Yeah, well, in the end, I had to just stop it and just twitch it, and they were still like
Yeah.
coming up, having a good look at it, but they just wouldn't commit because it wasn't moving enough for them, and that was all she wrote.
Yeah, I probably got that footage on the GoPro somewhere, but I didn't have time to cipher through it all. But
All good,
yeah, we
Adrian.
can have a look at another day.
Yeah, so that was pretty exciting fishing, especially so close to the shore like that. Like we know they come in close, and we thought that was super close, but then we saw a video from the same day, which I believe was from
Oh,
around
Stephen Burke, yeah.
which I think was Cleveland Bight area, possibly.
Yeah, looked at the east entrance and
Yeah.
he filmed like this one school of tuna in about a meter of water.
Yeah.
It was insane footage. I wish I had that footage to show you guys, but
Yeah, you could clearly see it you could clearly see the bottom and the fish just like
they were darting towards him.
which was nuts.
Yeah.
So yeah, these fish are not afraid of pushing in shallow.
Yeah.
Hence why Brendan keeps going out after work
Yes.
because he's decided that he wants to catch them in Western Port. And if you see a man trolling around Western Port collecting weed on his lures, it's Brendan.
Well, it's funny, yeah. He thinks that because he's caught him in the west entrance once and he's seen people catch him, like I guess off Cow's Pier, that he's gonna do that like every day.
Yeah.
He's just trolling random
Yeah,
lures at nothing.
he came over to my house and got rods at like 6:30 one night, and I'm like, you're kidding me, mate. Like classic Brendan. Like it was calm all day as well. People were smacking tuna, and he's like gotten home, looked at the water, gone, oh, it's so nice out there. An hour later, he's launched, and yeah, he didn't see anything. But like, yeah, it's just classic Brendan because as he got down there, the wind just picked up ferociously. Like
Oh yeah.
all day there was this change of wind forecast, and like it's just as he gets on the water, of course, it comes up.
It's just the classic summer weather pattern.
Yeah, afternoon sea breeze.
Yep. Cools it down and that's it. Done.
Yeah, and yeah, so he's still on his journey to catch one in Western Port. Me and you actually nearly did it years ago. Like when we first started
Yeah, it
seeing
was
these
about
fish.
5 years ago.
Yeah,
And
when-
we had a double hookup and I was
Like
on a
I-
squid rod and you were on some old stick bait thing.
yeah, I hooked one on a stick bait, and the hooks weren't really sharp enough, and yeah, had that like right up to the boat and lost it. And this was like years and years ago before
Yeah.
it was like a common thing, and end result was 0. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was like right in the entrance.
Yeah, it was. And yeah, I think my braid strap, I think I had 10-pound braid or something, didn't I?
Something like that.
It was something ridiculous.
And then like a day later, they'll film like off Flinders Pier. Like I think someone even hooked one off Flinders Pier.
Yeah. That's
We got
just a
some-
video of me double netting fish because it was funny.
We got Adrian whamming 2 tuna into that, and then I landed one,
Yeah, you actually
which was
just speared it.
about twice as big as both of them.
It was. It was incredible. Because I'm actually on a mission this year, Dave.
Mm,
I'm actually going to try tag 100 bluefin tuna this season.
that's really good.
Get on the leaderboard.
I was about to eat a sourworm then, and I thought, no, there'll be really bad chewing noises in the mic.
Yeah, so I've been tagging fish. So here's one while you guys murdered yours. I'm just throwing this back in the water here. Waiting for Brendan to get the camera going, and here's one. Wish I had that footage, but yeah, just spears it in, and he swam off really well.
You really did.
So
Look, I kept one because delicious eating. But I'll be honest, one of the main reasons I kept that was to go home and get like an iconic photo of me and little Sammy
Yes.
with a bluefin like 3 times the size of him.
So I was going to save this for the whip around, but here it is, guys. There's Dave and little Sammy, their first fish photo together. So he's, I think, 10 days old there, 11 days.
Yeah. So literally we had to take him in and bath him after that because
Oh, no.
I was so stinky and tunery, but it was worth it for the photo.
Yeah.
So
And
we'll have
it was
that.
a good fish too, good school fish.
Yeah, it was. It was a
much
really
bigger
good
than
one.
the other ones.
Yeah. Like 3 times the size of him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a good little trip. The only trip we got to do. We got freaking hammered by waves,
We did.
and you got in massive wife trouble.
Oh, yeah, because we actually told the wives that we're going to get back in by 4 or 5, and she's called me at 5 on the dot, and we're still like,
Well,
I guess off the shank, and I'm like, oh no,
'Cause-
this isn't good.
Brendan declared he had to be in early,
Yeah.
which we weren't happy with because he had to go and get his son from cricket in, where's he play again? Brighton. Bentley. Rich person suburb. So he literally drives his son like 2 hours each way. No, how far is it? It's fair way.
Bentley, it's not that far.
How far is it? It's like an hour.
It's basically the next suburb from Moorabbin. Oh, from Crib Point, it's about an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
To play cricket so that he can play on the turf pitches and that.
Yeah.
So we're always teasing him because he loses like days and days just through traversing around Victoria for this cricket competition.
Yes.
But anyway, he had to pick up Finn, his son, at 5 apparently.
Yep.
And that's about when we found the tuna.
No, we actually found him at 2:30, and we had 3 on the deck by 2:30, and we
Yeah.
kept persisting.
Well, anyway, yeah.
Because we found him.
Yeah, so we hadn't found them for long anyway.
Yeah.
And so Brendan had to weasel his way out of that. I think he got his dad to go pick his son up. And so we thought we were going to be in at like 4
Yeah.
because of him.
I wasn't actually even looking at the time, but I knew you wanted to stay out longer, and you forced Brendan to call his elderly 82-year-old father to pick up his grandchild from cricket. And you also got me in trouble with my wife. So thanks, Dave. I'm glad you enjoyed your first, I guess, fishing trip after being a dad. So
My first dad trip.
yeah,
There's a lesson in that, actually.
yeah,
A lot of people would have given up, but we just kept going, even though mentally we'd given up. Physically,
we were still out
we
there.
remained
grinding.
out there, putting the boat in areas that possibly could be tuna.
Or possibly couldn't be.
So
Well, basically, like 15 meters off the rocks at
Yeah.
one stage.
you can either give up and go home and cry,
Yeah.
or you can just keep floating around out there until you make something happen.
There's all these teenagers jumping off, like doing bombs off the rocks while we were hooked up. Like, that's
Yeah.
how close they were. We could see them.
Yeah, it was nuts. But anyway,
So,
and then
yeah,
because you were supposed to be in because you were going cod fishing.
Well, not cod fishing. What happened is I booked a trip to Miami because I had a job that I did in Echuca late last year, and I had to fix up a few things because something broke down because of the
Shoddy
excessive
workmanship.
heat. No, just excessive heat. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to turn that into a little family holiday, and stayed in Miami.
Mm.
And I think I launched a boat maybe 2 or 3 times, and maybe got 35 cast in for that whole time.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's probably one of the greatest caravan parks I've ever stayed in.
Really?
Yeah, Moama Discovery, I think it's called. So if you're into caravan parks, I would seriously recommend this. It's got 2 pools, a water park, giant trampoline, a boat ramp, a marina, all the usual things like tennis courts and all that. And yeah, it's just bloody amazing. Right on the river too, so it's incredible. So,
Oh, that's awesome.
I
So
recommend-
not a proper cod trip then.
No, but I would go there with the boys, I reckon, and seriously try to get a monster cod. Because I know Mitch Chapman's caught a few good ones around there, so
Yep.
he did give me a few areas to try. I didn't even try them. I just cast it at random trees
Yeah.
because it's a bit hard when you got the family there to just dedicate all your time to fishing.
Yeah. But we were going to get Mitch on this week, but he's busy.
Yeah, so
So we'll get him on next week.
next week he's going to come on because he is known to be a professional athlete.
Yes.
Last year during lockdown, He was fishing out with his tennis racket and his basketball hoops.
Yes, we'll discuss that.
Yeah, next week we'll definitely discuss that with him.
I don't think Mitch was pleased that tennis was allowed to go on and we weren't allowed to go fishing. So
Exactly. He took his racket out and his
did
basketball
some
hoops.
satirical protesting.
And he also has been toweling up the tuna out of Port Phillip Bay heads in his tinny
He
on
has.
top water too. So we get some tips off him.
That sounds good. Yeah, so that's going to be very exciting. I want to go to potentially the whip around. Is that you happy to
Yeah, we can go to the whip around.
have a chat about that?
Yeah. What do you
look,
got for
I
us
was-
this week, Dave? Because I've got a few reports so I can share.
Well, first and foremost, I was begging Adrian to let me make an intro pre-record, but he wouldn't let me. I said, fine, I'm just going to do it live.
Yeah.
So here we go. The whip around.
Oh, shit.
You like that?
Yeah, I guess that's okay. Yeah.
All right.
We'll record that next time.
Yeah, sick. We can go back and record that.
I thought you were going to do whip it good. Whip
Yeah.
it real good.
But I'm scared of copyright.
Okay.
Even though we're not monetized, because we've got like 3 people that listen.
Yeah, so subscribe now. We need more subscribers.
What's weird, a lot of people seem to listen because heaps of people tell me they like it,
Yeah.
but it doesn't translate into subscriptions and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, whip around. So, I want to start with your brother.
Oh, yes. So my brother lives in Torquay and he does a lot of beach fishing and kayak fishing out there.
Yep.
And just over the weekend, I think it was full moon on Saturday or Friday. I can't remember.
Was it?
Yeah. Well, he sent me
Wasn't it waning?
yeah, it was waning, but it was still quite full.
Mm.
And he had caught 6 bronze whalers in one night off the beach.
Bronzy dogs.
Yeah, so
And wasn't he? He was only in super shallow water too.
yeah. So he was basically reckons his baits were in about 3 foot of water.
That looks like a sand shark
Does it? Because it's covered in shark. Good one, Dave.
because it's covered in shark. I think it's covered in sand.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I know. He reckons he got 6 of them, and yeah, good on him.
They're pretty solid, aren't they?
Yeah.
That'd be 30 kilo.
Yeah, he reckons the biggest one was about 30, and maybe the smallest one was about 10 or something.
So just traditional surf fishing gear, no wire trace.
No wire trace. He reckons he got bitten off another 3 times too. Because he does get gummies off there, so that's what he was actually going for, but had no luck on the gummies. But
No, I wonder why.
got harassed by big bronze dogs. So
Well, so what beach was he?
I think it's called somewhere in Torquay. He sent me a message. I'll find what he.
Somewhere in Torquay, that'll do.
Yeah,
Interesting. So I wonder where Mama Bronze Whaler
I
is.
reckon if you got a bait 300 meters out, you would have got mama.
Yeah, because apparently he wasn't in like 3 foot of water.
Yeah, so White's Beach, right near the boat ramp in Torquay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Huh.
and that's where he gets a lot of gummies apparently. So sorry, kids, if I've ruined your numbers.
Don't worry, there's only like 5 people that listen,
Yeah.
as I said before. So
And
don't have to worry.
another one I got in my whip around, young Tyler.
Yeah,
He's a kayak fisherman.
he
And
has a YouTube channel too.
yeah,
I
he
believe.
does. And he got a southern bluefin tuna on his kayak.
Are you going to promote his YouTube channel?
Yeah, so it's called Chasing Fish Oz, I think. Is that it?
I
I'm
think
only
so.
on his Instagram, so.
Yeah, I believe so.
And he got it on top water, according to his report. So big congrats to you, Tyler.
How good. A kayak bluefin.
Yeah.
That's the sort of opportunities these fish are presenting.
Well, it's quite funny because these fish can be in 4,000 metres of water or 1 metre of water. And I've seen them in both. So it's incredible.
Well, we used to drive to like Bermagui,
Yeah.
like gladly, which is 9 hours away, 8-9 hours,
Yeah.
and go way, way beyond the shelf. And half the times the fish we were catching were not really much bigger than some of the more solid ones we're getting here.
Yeah. The thing is, you're going over the second drop off to find these fish.
Oh, miles out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like you'd be stoked if you got onto them. And now it's like we can go out for an afternoon and be in and home giving babies formula and stuff.
Exactly. Breastfeeding them.
So yeah, it's quite an incredible fishery. And that was what was next on my list was the bluefin, which is spread from west of Port Phillip, and Portland,
Yeah.
South Australia.
So basically, there's a huge biomass of these fish, bluefin tuna, right around the coast of Victoria. They're
Yeah.
just bloody everywhere. Like, I reckon if you launched any port that goes into Bass Strait, you could be a chance of catching one. So.
Yeah. And yeah, round Tassie and right into South Australia. It's very popular in South Australia.
We did have another report here from some special, I don't know who it is, but he got one off the shank too, so congrats to you.
Square Man from Squid Game.
Yes. So he got one. Well done, Square Man.
For people who are on audio format, we'll put a photo of that on our Instagram. You can check it out. One of the guards from Squid Game came tuna fishing.
He did. I have no idea who it is, so...
No. Well, if we did, we'd be killed.
Yeah.
That's the rules, isn't it?
I think so.
Bluefin spread right through. Heaps of them getting caught. Barwon Head still seems to be the biggest biomass that I know of.
Yeah.
But the boat traffic's a killer.
Oh, actually, Portland probably destroys that.
Maybe.
I reckon it does.
Okay. But yeah, boat traffic, absolute killer out of there. Like, it's kind of getting a bit silly. But yeah, Western Port, especially at the eastern entrance, has been really consistent.
Yeah.
Our boy Lockie O'Reilly.
Yeah, he went out with my mate Justin and blooded his new boat, I believe. So,
what a networker!
Yeah.
So yeah, they got a bunch of tuna out there, as of heaps of other people, including Tyler on the kayak. And then we got.
Did he get that out of the east? Did he?
Yeah.
On that thing, it said Portland.
Who? Really?
Yeah, on that Instagram thing.
Oh, maybe
You know how it tags like where you are sometimes?
Oh, okay. I just assumed. I assumed. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, well, he might have got out east and just tagged Portland. Who knows? You know what fishermen are like these days? They like to give out their numbers.
Sorry. So we got him out the western entrance. They got him out the eastern entrance. I'm sure there's some in between there around Pyramid Rock and whatnot. Kingfish going pretty good. Around Port Welshpool, the usual haunts. There's also tuna at Port Welshpool, by the way.
Yeah. So I don't know where Jace was, but he got a couple on the weekend too.
Yeah, right.
So
he wouldn't tell you if you asked him anyway.
No.
He's a sneaky boy. So yeah, kingfish right through. Heaps of people getting like small rat ones while trolling for. We should have actually had a crack for a king while we were out the other day. The water was so nice and clean.
I know.
Probably would have been really good.
But we decided we'd drive like 600 miles to find our own fish. So congrats to us.
Yes, quite a lot of fuel. And it's gone really expensive again. So
yeah, good stuff to us.
Port Phillip snapper season. It's over.
Oh, no. It's over. Shit.
700 weeks in. It's finished.
It's not even 700 weeks in a year.
I know.
Jeez.
I don't know how that even works.
So it's over. It's done.
I don't know. Reports have really dried up. Nobody cares anymore.
Actually, I saw Tyler and his stories this morning, and he was getting 3 ways this morning.
Really?
Yeah, so it's still on.
What about fishing? Was he fishing?
I don't know what another 3-way is, but anyway.
Yeah, okay. That probably is still on. I mean, let's be honest. It's never stops. But I think people lose interest. A lot of people go whiting fishing for some reason.
Yeah. No, well, I understand why these guys do it, but there's funner sport things to catch, I guess. So
Yep. So people do that. The other one that's pretty cool is big silver trevally dogs.
Ah, yes. I saw our good mate Kevin having a crack at him.
Yeah, so we'll chuck a photo up of Kev with his big trevally.
Yep.
So how's the people?
So if you're not watching this on YouTube, there's it looks like the whiting fishermen in New South Wales where they fish the sand flats, and there's just people everywhere. So I'm sure on the other side of Kevin, there's another 50 people casting as well.
So there's Kev showing off his bicep with a trevally in the background.
So that's an actual GT.
Yeah, so
giant silver trevally.
That's crazy, isn't it? There's like 30 people.
Yeah.
So that's going on. Flicking plastics and stuff. I don't know if I don't know if that happens every year, but anyway, apparently.
I've never seen people post that stuff, but
no, I know there's big trevally in there. There's massive tailor in there.
Oh,
too.
yeah. And they don't touch anything either. There can be schools under you, like huge schools just swimming under your boat and you can't get a bite.
Very infrequently do they eat lures. Like you drive through there and they just jump around everywhere.
You go to lakes or whatever, there's a place called Barrier Landing, and you catch heaps of tailor off the markers there. On
No,
the
you don't.
Well, I have. So
Wow.
anyway, we've got another report from Tassie here.
Yeah. So Jonah
There
has
he is
been
there.
out
He's got some hokey or
with some
Blue
no-name
Grenadier.
angler there next to him.
Yep.
I believe his name is like Pal or Parlos. Paul
Pal Bestling.
Paul Worsling, I think it. Paul Worsling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You idiot. Dave.
Yeah. Jonah went out with Paul. Apparently, I had a great time. And filmed it for iFish, so look out for that in a future episode.
They caught some great makos, so
Apparently, it was a bit of a grind, and it all came together. Jonah said that he persisted on his marks and was getting a bit depressed about it all, but he didn't move because he thought everyone's quiet everywhere. Everyone's struggling.
Yep.
It's probably more likely to be a time of day or a tidal flow thing, which you wouldn't think is the case so deep, but apparently these blue eye are real first light, last light.
Is that right?
Predominantly bite times and tide changes. So anyway, apparently the tide turned or something like that, and that triggered them, and they caught a bunch of blue eye, and whilst doing that, they got some big Marco sharks
The Marcos. I love a good Marco.
up around the boat and caught and released at least one of them.
Well, there's the Marco there. That's just a free swimmer by the looks of it.
Yeah.
So they probably had a few free swimmers just swimming around, eating engines, cowlings and stuff.
Yeah, there's stacks of sharks down there. So they did that. That's what Jonah did down there. Tassie.
Very good.
Okay. Yep. Good. All right. Other fishing.
Yeah.
JB Marlin, Jervis Bay.
Oh, they've been going off too, have they?
Yep. Going probably one of the pick of the ports, I reckon, at the moment, Adrian.
So the Shimano Blue Water Classic Bermagui thing was on over the weekend.
Yes.
Did we hear much from that?
Yeah. There was a few fish caught it.
Okay.
I don't think it was red hot.
Because I got a mate who fished it, Rodney, he fishes it every year, and day one he sent me a report saying he's tagged one mahi. So that's all I heard
Yeah,
from.
it sounded a bit hit and miss.
Yeah.
I think there was a few fish around, but not heaps. I know there was fish caught down south of there as well, off Eden and stuff.
Okay.
But I think predominantly like the good bite for numbers at the moment seems to be like Jervis Bay.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like up at Sydney and stuff, they're even getting a few fish, so
Okay.
they're pretty spread.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, JB, bloody consistent area.
Oh, it's bloody awesome
So,
there.
yeah, striped marlin. Oh, actually, I did see a blue marlin off Burmese, which is pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I saw one tagged.
Yeah. So yeah, but up at JB, yeah, dolphin fish, striped marlin, black marlin. Fishing pretty good. So, when are you doing your marlin trip?
As soon as it's hot, I'm hot to trot. So I want to go when they're bait balling. So basically,
Yeah.
I'm a sure chance, basically.
A
Actually-
sure chance. That's a bit of a, what's the word for that? A juxtaposition. You're a high chance,
A sure
a sure
chance.
thing.
Yeah, sure thing. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that sounds good.
I'm waiting for the bait balling action, and I'll
Yeah,
be
no,
there.
That's fun.
I'll drag the family with me, and yeah.
Just get a house big enough for me, old boy.
Oh yeah. I think Mitch wants to join too, so he wants to tow his
Ginny gang.
renegade. Yeah, the renegade gang. So there'll be a few of us up there.
I just drank absolute dregs out of my beer bottle. I got
You're
a bit,
into drinking your beer tonight.
Yeah.
I gotta say.
there was really just foam in there, and I just went for it anyway. So she's well and truly empty.
So I wanted to bring up another thing, Dave, because this happened to me on the weekend. It's gonna go into the grinds my gear segment.
Oh,
So here we go.
To Peter Griffin for You Know What Really Grinds My Gears.
Thanks, Tom. You know what really grinds my gears?
So Dave,
Mm.
this is probably a familiar thing with fishermen.
yeah,
The ice key at the servo.
yes.
So I want to know, what do you do with the ice key? Because you're expected to pay for the ice and they give you a key. And do they expect you to return it?
Yeah, well, this actually really angers me as well when we were talking about it the other day. I was like, you're right. I will not return the key.
So,
Like, I've got my hand, I'm not doing their job for them. When they get to work, they should open the ice chest and then put the key away, and then at the end of the day, they should lock it again.
Yeah.
It's not my job. I don't work for you.
So I went to the servo in Moama about 4:30 p.m. or 5 p.m. or whatever, and it was locked. And they gave me the key.
Yep.
And there's two scenarios that normally happen. One is you grab the key off him, unlock the padlock,
Yeah.
and put the ice in your car and leave the key in the padlock.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Okay. And the second one is you compensate yourself with an extra or a couple of extra bags of ice, then return the key.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Well, like as your...
So you
Because
buy...
you're like an employee
Yeah.
for that moment. So that's your payment as being an employee.
Yeah. So it's quite often I do one or the other.
You thief.
Is it though?
Look,
I'm doing my time.
I certainly understand your time where. I certainly understand what you're getting at. Yeah, like to be asked, yeah, like it really is a whole nother trip that you have to do because like I'll buy like 4 bags of ice, so I've already got 2 hands full battling to just hold that much, and then that means I have to make a whole nother superfluous trip back to the chest.
Hang on, you're doing the thing wrong. You reverse your ute up to the ice bin.
Yeah, but I've got the boat on the back.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So then I'm doing a redundant trip back to the ice chest again to collect their key for them, take it back inside and give it to them,
Yes.
which is
Annoying.
yeah. So I think leaving key in the lock, fair enough. And they always have a worried look when they see you drive off, just in case you've kept their key.
Or you've taken an extra bag of ice.
Yeah. Wow. If you want to do that, that's your business, Adrian.
Well, I'm paying myself for work doing their job, so...
Yeah, fair enough. Kind of. Police.
You
Hello,
got-
police.
You got any grind my gears, or...
No,
you
I
just
was
going
just-
on to mine, bouncing off mine.
Yeah, no, I was just hanging off your one.
Yeah. Leave in the comments, what do you do? Because it is an awkward situation to be in.
Yes, I want to know. I know other people that will purposely park their boat to obscure the view of the clerk, and they'll load themselves up. But we don't.
No,
Encourage that behaviour.
no, we don't. Only if you do workroom, though, like returning a key.
Yeah. No, I suppose bouncing off that, it's the self-checkout at the supermarket. Similar sort of thing.
Well, not really.
What?
You're just scanning some things and paying some money.
Yeah, but like you're helping the supermarket fire or
Oh, yes.
make kids redundant so they don't get a bloody job.
That's true.
So if you want to put some prawns or something through as brown onions, I think that's fair. That's the risk they're taking by making it self-serve.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah,
I think those things have cameras on you now, just
Yeah.
slightly. So
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do it. That's for sure. Yeah. Yep, that's a good grind to my gears, Adrian. Very good.
oh, I'm glad you liked it.
So I didn't put a shout out this week for our usual segment of questions.
Yeah.
So I think there's just a couple where guys sent us a message over YouTube, which is appreciated. Love it when people interact. And a guy here named Michael Duclos has sent us a message.
Duclos.
So he said, hey gents, enjoying the podcast. Made the trip to Portland last week a lot quicker. Win Against the Hype podcast is proven to make your car go faster, is what he's saying.
Yeah.
It's like a performance enhancing.
Oh, thanks for listening, because you're probably one of 5 listeners. So no.
Not true. Not true. Stop being humble.
Okay.
We're massive.
We are.
Yeah. So anyway, here's a question for you. With COVID lockdowns finally ending, are they there? I've committed to a minimum of 1 trip a month for the next year, which is a bloody awesome thing to do.
Yep, I agree.
And you know why? That's also an awesome thing to do because I feel like you're spreading money within Victoria, not those states that shunned us when we had higher case numbers than them.
Exactly.
Like we were bloody some sort
We had
of
leprosy.
plague-ridden, lepers.
Leopards.
Leopards. They treated us like leopards.
Well, yeah. I did a lot of regional work and I felt the same from those regional towns too. So
Yeah.
I want to snub Geelong, basically.
Yeah, stuff them. How dare they consider themselves to be regional anyway? They're a freaking city.
Exactly.
That's a grinds my gears segment in itself. I've committed to a minimum of one trip a month for the rest of the year within Victoria to avoid any border issues. New location every time. If you boys were to do it, where would you go?
Well, it depends what you want to chase. If you want to do flathead or tuna or kings.
Well, come up with a few, with a variety of species
If
and
I
a
was-
vague time where you think it would be good.
Well, you could go to Bem River, basically. You could catch kingfish offshore and big brim in the lakes there. So, or you could go to Lakes Entrance and do your crabs and your whiting and
Crabs
yeah, you know, everyone just sand crabs there.
and the tiny whiting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then go offshore for your gummies and makos and snapper and stuff off lakes.
Cool.
Go to Welshie, do the same thing, basically kings and
Yep.
great white sharks. A lot of people catch greats there. So
Yeah. They catch a lot of greats, as we
Yes.
call them in the club. A couple off the top of my head. And one would be probably Lake Eildon. Or Brendan's just sent me a message.
yeah.
He's excited that he'll have something to listen to later.
Oh, great.
So you'll hear us getting stuck into him, which I think is his favourite time of the week. He loves a good roasting.
Yeah. We basically roast him every episode. So- sorry, Brendan, but you got some funny things to talk about.
He'll enjoy the argument about the weight of the tuna.
Yeah.
Anyway, back on topic. Yeah, I reckon big cod camping at Eildon.
See, I'm into that. I
Yeah.
love camping at Eildon. It's relaxing.
Yeah, one day we'll even catch a cod.
Yeah.
No, we've got cod, but
my boat's caught a cod.
no, we'll actually get good at it though.
What was it 68? I think
it
it was
was-
about 68 centimetres. So
Pathetic.
yeah, it's pathetic, but yeah.
But not as pathetic as the ones Brendan got. Like I didn't even bother throwing lures capable of catching ones the size of the
Wait,
ones that he
I want to
caught.
bring that back. So he goes, I go, oh, do you remember? Got a 68 on my boat. He goes, yeah, that was about the same size as mine. And I was like, I just nodded my head and agreed with him. Brendan's didn't even fit in my hand.
Yeah. So Lake Eildon or Mulwala or
Yeah, like
Yarrawonga.
Yeah, Yarrawonga's good.
cod fishing would be a really cool one. Portland is obviously really good.
Yeah, if you want to catch a tuna, your first ever tuna, I'd go to Portland
Yeah.
because there's huge numbers of fish there, and you can often get like at least 10 to 12 schools to yourself. So
He's already been to Portland though,
Okay.
so that strikes that one off the list. What about Crater Lakes for big trout?
So I haven't done a lot of freshwater fishing, Dave. So I don't know the trout scene.
Like
I mean,
Bull and Merry, Parambate, all that stuff?
yeah. So I know I've caught trout in Eildon because they're everywhere, and you just cast a little Tassie devil at wherever the rises are, and you hook up. So
Yeah. These Crater Lakes are stocked with some pretty massive trout, and they've also got Atlantic salmon and even
wow.
I think bass in there. Or
Big
perch,
Aussie bass.
or perch. Yeah. So they're pretty cool fisheries. God forbid I'd never go there. Oh gosh. But if
why
you're
are you
into,
recommending it then?
if you're into that
Just
sort of,
recommending trout and bass
if you're into
fishing.
that sort of thing, then I went there once with Brendan and Shane, and it wasn't horrible. So you could go and do that. That's a pretty high recommendation.
You just recommended something you'd never do.
One all-time great trip is to go down to Welshpool and you camp in Refuge Cove.
Yeah. See, I still haven't done that before.
Oh, it's great. We went in there one New Year's, had like 5 or 6 boats lined up, and by the time New Year's was over, we were all a bit how you going, and the boats ended up all high and dry on the beach. And I slept in my boat on a 45-degree tilt, and I remember my mate Jamie at night like 3 a.m. decided.
What, Jamie from Jamie and Melina?
Yeah, from Jamie and Melina. Tried to push his 670 bar crusher off like a fully dry boat off the beach on his
Oh,
own.
no.
And I just hear him like somehow fall in the water and killed his phone.
Oh.
So
he
good
actually
times.
beached it. He didn't go onto a mooring thing.
No, we all anchored up like on the edge of the beach, and
Yeah.
tide went out, and we were like on some rock dancing around or something. So yeah, that's a fun place to camp. And then from there, you can run out to the islands, and the kingfishing is really consistent and fun. Also, great shark fishing out there, and some tuna around.
Yeah.
Which there has been for the last few years. So that'd be a very cool location.
Well, me and Mitch Chapman were actually chatting about doing a tidal river launch and basically camping off the Glennies,
Yeah.
getting dropped off.
Yeah, that's another awesome area.
So I'm keen to do that.
And my final one would be Lakes Entrance swordfish.
Yeah, it's not really a favourite of mine, but I love catching swords.
Yeah. No, like when you catch them, it's really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Sometimes that happens. Not for some time, but when it did, boy, was it enjoyable.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Mm.
No, it's
So-
great fun. Been 3 hours in a rod and
Yeah, so thank you for that one, Michael. That's a really cool question. I hope you enjoy your monthly trips. I reckon that's an awesome idea. Hopefully we could do the same. Actually, there's just one more.
yeah.
I reckon if you can sneak just over the border and just pretend it's Victoria,
Oh, yeah.
go to Port Mac.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the other way. Do marlin fishing off Eden.
Oh, that'd be awesome too.
Yeah.
But Port Mac, not just for the giant tunas, but for the bottom oogly fishing there. It's insane.
Yeah.
So massive bass groper and harpooker and
I'm into doing that. I want to
and
do that.
someone did get a good swordfish off there once, but apparently there's not like heaps of them there. But you never know.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's like the Jurassic Park of the depths.
Yep.
Very cool. Enjoy your thanks for the question there, Michael. Hopefully you enjoy your monthly trips, and I reckon that's a ripping idea.
We look forward to seeing some reports from you.
Yeah. So the only other question I've got, which is left over from last week,
Yeah.
was Lockie McDougall just asked us what our favourite tuna casting rod was. We've been doing quite a lot of that.
Well, I kind of bought an outfit maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and I've just stuck with it. I'm sure there's better, but I've just got like a Shimano grappler. I don't even know what model it is, with a 4000 Shimano Sustain with 20-pound braid. That's it.
Yeah, nice. Which you found to be okay.
I think it's a bit too light.
I don't think it's ideal. I don't think it's too light.
No, well, it had me dancing and prancing around the boat the other day when I was on my tinny at Portland.
Yeah.
Like
Well, that's
full
good.
on. Yeah, no, it was really entertaining, but I wouldn't recommend it for, I guess, beginners at casting poppers at tuna,
Okay.
because you will lose a lot of fish to the boat.
Right. Well, what I'm using, which is I freaking love them.
You got the Anthem, don't you?
Yeah. So it's the Shimano Anthems,
With
and
a Gosa 6000?
yeah. So yeah, the one that I use mostly. I don't know where these rods came from. I just acquired them. I think Brendan's. I think they're Brendan's.
I think Shimano sent a couple to Brendan, and you've just pinched one, basically.
Yeah. So I think they're like the 30 to 40 pound ones. Actually, here we go. I've got the model right here. It is the Spin 732, which is the 30 to 40 pound.
Yep.
And yeah, like really nice, nearly parabolic bend. So like bend right down to the butt and give you really good power. But like, yeah, 7'3", so great casting range. And the thing I really like about them is they've got the long butt section.
Yeah.
So-
So you can, yeah.
Great leverage
Yeah.
when you're fighting a big fish. And yeah, you can quite easily knock over some really solid fish quite quick using that rod. But it's also great fun.
Yeah,
They're light
yeah.
enough to
And they,
offer great
they're
fun.
a bit longer than my grappler, so you can cast a bit further, I reckon.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Grab my grappler, see what number it is. It's just
Okay.
over there.
I'll be back.
Dave's just grabbing the rod there. So
Okay.
he's just knocked over some other rods there. So he's going to read it.
It's a rod named Grappler.
Yeah, no, you can't read anything. I think his finger's on it.
Is it? No, it's a 789S
Yeah.
PE Max 2
Yeah, that's what I got on it, PE2.
2G. What the hell's that?
It's just PE2.
Lure
It's
weight.
20 pound.
10 to 45 grams.
Yeah.
It seems like quite a large range.
10 to 45 gram, is it?
So how heavy? Oop, I'm back. No.
Yeah.
Am
Now
I?
you're back.
Okay, 10 to 45 grams, but how heavy is the lures we're casting?
They're like 40 grams, aren't they?
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
Don't exceed your odds casting rate with lures.
We've definitely snapped some rods over there.
I learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
When I snapped the rod in half at the Whit Sundays,
Yeah.
and then only after it snapped, we were like,
It's like 80 grams.
oh,
or
these
something.
lures are like 30 grams too heavy for what the rod's supposed to be
Yeah.
casting.
Especially when you're trying to launch a popper like 200 meters away.
Yeah. Oh, full wind-ups.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, doesn't help. They've probably got like boat rash from being slammed around the boat and me falling on them when hooked up to mackerel and stuff like that. But yeah, so that's what I use. I love the Anthems. I'd love to get like a heavier one for big tuna.
Yeah.
But yeah, heaps of other stuff on the market. But
Yeah, I actually wouldn't recommend mine. Mine's probably too light. I'm just stuck with it because I bought it.
I've caught some on yours.
Yeah,
It's
you
fine.
have. No, it's fine, but
It's not quite as good.
yeah.
I prefer.
No, it's a good rod. I've caught
Yeah.
plenty on that.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
Very good.
Yours is probably a bit better because it's 6,000 size reel and heavier braid and
Yeah.
long, I guess.
Longer levers.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And a superior angler holding it.
Eh,
Yeah. Yeah. Adrian's very offended. He didn't take that the way he was supposed to at all. Yeah, so that's the questions. I reckon Michael has earned himself some apparel.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll shoot Michael a message.
Yeah. He's
Get
the
him
only
some
one
stuff
who
out.
randomly sent a message to us. So if you want a random prize, just randomly send us a message.
Yeah, look, I might put a shout out again next week, and we'll get some more questions coming in.
Yeah.
If people want to carry on with that segment, I think it's a bit of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, thanks everyone for joining us again.
Yep.
I think we're gonna call it quits there. We've reached the end of our tether. We're sick of each other. Nothing left to say.
Nah, thanks for listening, guys. So
What's up, you bloody legends? Thanks for listening to Win Against Tide again. That's it for another episode. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'd be doing us a massive favour. Thanks, guys.